This is FE Peer Review. The date is July the 29th, 2021. The video in review is a video by P900 Coolpics, and in addition I'm covering some comments on that video by Sleeping Warrior. This video came to my attention through Ranty Flerfspective's channel. I want to thank Ranty for doing an excellent job of reviewing it already. I just wanted to take up an invitation that Sleeping Warrior made, which we will look at in a moment. But first, the video. The title is, Do You Seriously Think You Live on a Ball? Yes, I do. And nothing you've shown in this video or your others that I've watched show anything that leads me to doubt that. All your observations I've seen fall well within what is to be expected on a globe Earth with an atmosphere. Note that the target hidden height shown on the upper left of the screen is 946 feet. This does not include atmospheric refraction. With standard refraction, that figure is roughly 700 feet. Questions for Sandra. Why do you ignore atmospheric refraction, which, according to current science, affects both visible and infrared light? Have you proven to the satisfaction of the world scientific community that the current science on atmospheric refraction used by organizations such as the militaries of various countries and by industries such as telecommunications and shipping by sea is entirely wrong, and that no refraction actually occurs, thus it can be entirely ignored in observations such as this? If you have, where is your peer-reviewed research? Please direct me to the mainstream scientific journals that have published this research. Does the U.S. Navy plan to incorporate your discoveries into their knowledge base and technical methods for navigation, targeting, and radar operations? I won't harp on refraction any further in this video. I've done several videos about it in the past, but so long as you do not address refraction first, before doing observations which completely ignore it, you leave yourself wide open to criticism for this cart before the horse approach. I encourage you, before doing more videos like this, to review the current science on refraction. See links to useful documents in the description. Once you have demonstrated that you completely understand the phenomena they describe, once you have demonstrated through measured observations of natural phenomena that these documents are entirely wrong, both in their measurements and their conclusions, once you have provided a new solution that is quantifiable and capable of predicting accurately what we actually see on long-distance observations such as this, once that solution has been peer-reviewed and published by mainstream scientific journals, and once your contributions have been adopted by organizations such as the U.S. Navy, then, and only then, will you have rewritten the science on atmospheric refraction. Then, and only then, will you have a justification for ignoring it in your observations. In Sleeping Warrior's comments on Saunders' video, he put together this little image where he indicated some topographic features that could be identified. He showed them with these three sets of lines numbered 1, 2, 3. And he showed them again on this image from Google Earth, which is with a vertical scale of 3 times. So we see the ridge number 2 and number 3. He says that when speaking of this image, that there's a little bit of compression at the bottom, which is why we don't see the rest. He's referring to everything from here down to here as a little bit of compression. In his video, he encouraged us all to look for ourselves, so I did. I went around Google Earth, and the red line shows the sight line from Great Orme to Snaefell. So we are looking along this line here. I haven't got the elevation of my sight line exactly right, but I've got it aligned so that we see the features that are in this photo. We have the ridge, which is his number 1. We have this coming across, which is number 2. And then we have this and this coming down, and that's number 3. And I'm going to show with some additional colored lines on here support for that interpretation of what we're seeing in the Google Earth image as the correct image matching this figure above from the video. The red line I've just turned on, that is the ridge. That's the number 2 line, pretty badly drawn, but that's clear enough to get the point across. And that's the number 3. The orange is the number 3. Now I'm going to put some additional lines in there to support this. The green, if we start at the left, we see 1, 2, and then a kind of L shape, 3. We have in the infrared image on the left, we have 1, 2, 3. And then continuing across the lower image, the other set of fields, we have 1 and then a kind of reverse L, and then several lines to the right. And we see in the infrared image 1, the reverse L, and then several lines to the right. Lastly, in front of the fields on the left, we have a cluster of trees, and we see that here. So I'm 100% certain I have identified the piece of land that is visible in the infrared photo. In Google Earth, I have identified the same fields that are being seen in the foreground here. So let's take a look now on what we actually find in front of all of this, between number 3 and the viewer. In the next bit, I'll be navigating through Google Earth to identify the fields. If anybody watching this thinks I have identified the wrong fields, the appropriate response is to do a video using Google Earth and show me the fields you believe are the correct ones. Alternatively, you can put a comment with the coordinates of the fields. But to just simply say I've got the wrong spot is useless and not helpful. Thanks. Snaefell, the ridge in front of Snaefell, the fields I've outlined here and here, and the woods in front of the fields. The red line is the path that connects Snaefell to Great Orme, and we will now zoom out and observe what is in front of and below all that. There are the fields back there. There's the intersection of those 2 fields and the bank of trees. None of this is showing up in that image, that infrared image. Oh, now there's the water line. It's go back in again. There's the fields, there's the 2 lines of the fields coming together, there's the ridge in the front of Snaefell, and there's Snaefell. And none of this is showing up in that infrared image. We are only seeing it up to here. That's where the 2 groups of fields intersect. There's the ridge, there's Snaefell. Snaefell, ridge, and the 2 groups of fields intersecting. And the red line is our sight line from Great Orme. So there's Great Orme. Snaefell off in the distance. So these are the the fields we're seeing, that's where the two groups of fields come together. And then there's a valley in between, and then a group of trees in the foreground. There's the ridge that cuts in front of Snaefell, and there's Snaefell. So we are not seeing anything from about here on out. That's the group of trees in front of those fields. From there on out, we are not seeing anything. And what is the rough elevation out in this area? According to the figure at the bottom of my screen, 730, 650, 770, 780, we're seeing that. We're seeing maybe some of this. Get down here, and we're talking about 600, 580. So all this is a good 600 feet above the water line. And none of that is appearing in this image. It's just not there. Not there.